All right. Well, welcome back, friends. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately on leadership, and I did want to share some thoughts with you. And at first I was going to come up with like the top 10 rules for leadership, but truth be told, I got a lot more than 10. And the second part is, I think we start to fool ourselves into thinking that if I just follow rules 1, 2, and 3, that results A, B, and C are going to happen every single time. But the truth is, leadership in life is just a lot more chaotic than following a bunch of pre-subscribed rules that we try to adhere to. But regardless, there are a few things that I try to live by, and I'm going to try to share those with you, and I'll try to keep them in smaller chunks at a time. That way we can help digest them a little bit better. So, without further ado, in no particular order, we'll get started here with Stoker's rule for leadership number 1. You have got to check yourself before you check everybody else around you. The very first principle of leadership that I learned a long time ago was to know yourself and seek self-improvement. Going back, a couple thousand years, maybe you've heard it a different way. Man, you got to pull the log out of your own eye before you pull the speck out of somebody else's eye. And too many times, I think leaders get caught in the hypocrisy of their own humanity by demanding something of somebody else that they themselves are unwilling to do. Maybe it's a manager who wants to show up late and give an excuse of, I'm salary, and then get on an hourly employee for showing up late and then ended up firing them, right? Maybe it's a leader who uses the excuse, I'm taking care of a leader's business as an excuse. Man, I tell you, our subordinates will see right through it. They will see right through all of it. So we need to always make sure that, we're taking a humble approach and walking with humility and making sure that we're looking in the mirror at ourselves to see what we can do to make ourselves more effective leaders. All right, so, rule number two, nobody's going to care how much you know until they know how much you care. And let's let that ruminate there for a second. Nobody's going to care how much you know until they know how much you care. Odds are, if you're in a supervisory role, if you're in a management role, if you're in a leadership role, you have a lot of institutional or experiential knowledge about what it is, that you're doing. You either learned it in a school or training environment, or you learned it by doing it the hard way. And you have been charged now to lead other people in taking care of these roles. We could be as smart as this side of Albuquerque. Man, I tell you what, it doesn't matter, not one bit. If we live our lives knowing and thinking that we are the bees, if you will, if we're the only ones that make things happen, and we don't in turn take care of the ones who are actually out there grinding, getting things done for us. If we don't do that, we will never have the loyalty of those who are in our charge. We're never going to have the loyalty of those who are on our shift or on our team. But once we start putting their needs and their welfare and their professional and personal development ahead of our own, that loyalty, man, it grooms and it grows and it pushes out all of the bad things that can have an adverse impact on the organization. So I'm going to challenge you, just like I challenge myself every day, to look forward to finding a way to reach somebody every single day in a way that you weren't able to do so before, and watch and see how that investment returns back to you and to the team. Rule number 3, always be reachable and be approachable. To put it in a negative aspect, never be unreachable, never be unapproachable. I think a lot of times we probably all had somebody, that we're working for that we didn't feel like we could approach with an issue, whether it was a work-related issue or a personal issue, whatever the case is, because that person just didn't seem to care. It kind of goes back to rule number 2, right? So always put yourself in a position and make sure that you have a sort of relationship with those who are in your charge, that they know that they can approach you with either a non-conforming issue as it comes to work or a personal issue that they need some help resolving and moving forward with. So there you go, friends. There's 3 rules in about 5 minutes that Stoker tries to live by, and I'll share a few others as we go on week to week. But maybe you have a few favorite rules of your own. Feel free to comment down below, and let's hear what those are. We can all learn and grow from each other. If you like the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, stay up to date on all the upcoming videos that we'll be doing. And until then, man, we'll see you.